Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty fascinating reality about the place you call home. If you happen to live in a maturing, historic neighborhood, think Highland Park or Glencoe, the year your house was born is way more than just a fun piece of trivia. It's actually the ultimate cheat code. Seriously, it's a cheat code for predicting, understanding, and totally preventing some absolutely massive plumbing nightmares. We're going to look at how the exact decade your home was constructed acts like a hidden blueprint for the systems running right under your feet. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're just washing dishes or doing a load of laundry, and suddenly you notice it. Maybe it says super slow drain, a foul odor creeping up, or those weird mystery gurgles that literally make your sink sound like a swamp monster. It's so easy to just brush those off as random flukes. But here is the secret we're exploring today. Those frustrating little symptoms are actually historical clues. They were left behind by the original builders of your property. They aren't random at all. They are directly tied to the construction standards of the area your home was built in.
Okay, real quick, here's our agenda. We'll be looking at the hidden history of drains, pre-World War II cast iron pipes, post-war shifting pipe joints, late-century plastic transitions, modern homes with their localized failures, and finally, diagnosis and preventative steps.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the hidden history of drains. So think of your home's drainage system as an underground time capsule. Whenever a home goes up, contractors use the exact materials, layouts, and standards of that specific decade. And sure, over the years, the paint gets updated, you get a new roof, maybe some shiny new appliances, but that deep underground plumbing, it usually stays completely untouched, silently reflecting the era it was buried in. Across neighborhoods like Highland Park and Glencoe, you see properties spanning all these eras. We've got the pre-World War II to mid-century era, which is all about cast iron. Then the post-war to 1970s era, known for shifting joints and seams. Moving into the late 70s to 90s, we hit the big transition to plastics. And finally, the 2000s to today, which brings modern standards, but as you'll see, their own unique vulnerabilities. Every single one of these eras dictates the maintenance realities you're dealing with today. Moving on to Section 2. Pre-World War II and cast iron pipes. When we look at older homes, from the pre-war era right up to the mid-century, there's this really striking contrast between the legendary reputation of cast iron and its hidden underground reality. Cast iron is heavy. It feels totally indestructible. For a long time, it was the absolute gold standard for residential plumbing because it was known for lasting forever. But aging brings out a major hidden flaw: internal corrosion. Over decades and decades, the inside of these pipes actually begins to rust and flake off, which creates these rough, jagged pipe walls. And because of that rough texture, debris just starts clinging to it. This means clogs in these homes don't usually happen overnight. Instead, you get these repeat, gradually worsening clogs because the inside of the pipe is essentially choking itself off over time. And on top of that, there's another massive vulnerability for these historic properties. They were built way before modern root-blocking standards were a thing. If you live in an older home, you probably have some beautiful, mature trees out in your yard, right? Well, as those trees have grown over the last 50 or 60 years, their roots have been aggressively seeking out water. And they very easily infiltrate the older connections and mortar joints of those mid-century systems. Any tiny microgaps left by shifting soil or past repairs, they basically become a welcoming front door for tree roots to just barge right in and completely block your main sewer lines. Let's step forward a bit to Section 3, post-war shifting pipe joints.
Fast forward to the post-war housing boom that stretched right through the 1970s. In this era, drainage problems are uniquely defined by seams and joints. If your home is from this time period, you might frequently experience what feel like totally random mystery backups. But guess what? They aren't random at all. They're actually triggered by environmental stressors. How the system was backfilled and supported 50 years ago dictates how it's behaving right now. As the soil around it settles or expands with those fun seasonal freeze-thaw cycles and heavy rains, the pipes actually shift slightly. This shifting puts stress on the connections, leading to alignment changes, grading issues, and slow leaks. So when a massive rainstorm hits, a section of the line that's lost its proper alignment just can't handle the stormwater flow, and the result, a nasty backup right into your home.
That brings us to Section 4, late-century plastic transitions. So for homes built from the late 1970s through the 1990s, builders were super enthusiastic about transitioning to plastics and composite materials for drainage. Now you might be thinking, great, modern plastics solved everything. After all, they don't corrode like cast iron. But failures absolutely still happen in this era. The culprit? It's usually the transitions. These brand new plastic materials often had to be hooked up to older existing infrastructure, and contractors used adapters to bridge that gap. These transition points, along with old bends and cleanouts, basically become bottlenecks where debris loves to collect. Plus, you see a lot of problems from this era where pipes were installed without enough of a downward slope, or where landscaping changes messed up the way water naturally flows to the drain. So if you're getting a recurring clog near, say, your laundry line, it's rarely just one bad pipe. It's usually about debris getting hopelessly trapped at one of those historical transition points. Next up, Section 5, Modern Homes and Localized Failures. Now, if your house is a relatively new build, anything from the 2000s to today, don't get too comfortable just yet. This reality completely shatters the myth that new automatically means invulnerable. Today's homes definitely use highly standardized materials, so pipe corrosion isn't really the issue. Instead, modern drainage failures are all about localized failures. What does that mean? Well, it could be water sneaking in from a poor seal where the indoor plumbing meets the exterior pipes, or maybe the pipes got disturbed during a big driveway or landscaping project. But here's the crazy part. It is incredibly common for literal construction debris, like chunks of material accidentally dropped on the pipes while the house was literally being built, to sit there quietly for years. It just waits until enough junk accumulates around it to cause a massive blockage. The truth is, even the absolute most durable pipe in the world will fail if the system lacks proper slope, venting, or external water management.
Finally, Section 6, Diagnosis and Preventive Steps.
Okay, so we've decoded the plumbing DNA across 4 different construction eras. The big question is, how do we outsmart these historical hazards? Well, first, we have to respect our local environment. If you're in places like Highland Park or Glencoe, the regional climate and soil conditions really intensify freeze-thaw effects and ground movement. That means you cannot ignore certain symptoms. If you're seeing repeated backups, smelling lingering sewage odors, finding mysterious wet spots near your foundation, or noticing your drains acting sluggish right after a heavy storm, pay attention. These are not just one-off superficial clogs. In this kind of climate, those symptoms are critical warning signs of a much deeper obstruction or a failing underground connection.
So here is your ultimate action plan to get ahead of those super costly repairs. Step 1, document your symptoms. Write down exactly what's happening and when. Is it only after a deep freeze or a crazy downpour? Step 2, identify your home's construction era materials based on the year it was built. Use the timeline we just walked through. And step 3, schedule a targeted camera inspection. Honestly, this is the absolute fastest path to clarity. Slipping a camera down there completely removes the guesswork. It tells you immediately whether you're fighting root intrusion, a misaligned pipe, or just decades of slow buildup. Knowing the age of your home gives you a massive advantage. It lets you prioritize exactly where to look. But ultimately, to be absolutely sure, you need a proper inspection. Budgeting a little bit for preventative camera evaluation can literally stop a catastrophic emergency backup before it ruins your basement, especially heading into the wet season or if you've got giant trees near your sewer line. So I'll leave you with this one vital question to investigate for your own property. What secrets are buried in your yard right now? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and happy hunting as you decode your home's hidden history.